Hi, so in this video we are in Adobe Illustrator. I'm using CC 2021, but this will work in older versions and is transferable skills-wise to most vector software. So we are going to be building a simple character out of shapes. Mostly we're going to use the shape tool, and we are going to be using the direct select tool and converting some anchor points and things to move them around. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to click on my shape tool and hold down and grab the ellipse tool, and I'm going to make a circle. I'm going to hold down shift while I drag this ellipse out because it'll keep a perfect circle. See, no shift, holding down shift. See, there's a difference. And I'm going to drag that up into the middle. This is going to be the basis for my face. Now I know that I want to kind of squish it up. And I'm going to grab my direct select tool and click on this anchor point. The direct select tool, by the way, is this white arrow, the filled in arrow. The regular selection tool is the top one. If you see the regular select tool, it grabs the whole object. The direct select tool lets you select individual points and then these handlebars. If you've never worked in vector graphics before, don't panic. It is a little different. We manipulate with paths and points, where things like Photoshop use raster mostly, that is pixel based. Vector is all based on paths and points. That means it's all math. What it means for us is that we can size things up and down every way we want without losing any quality to the image because it's all math. Whereas raster, that's based on pixels, you try to size up, you can't really add more pixels very easily. The computer has to come up with that. And sometimes you know that you try to look at it too big and it looks nasty, right? Vector doesn't do that. So I've got my handlebars here, and you'll see the handlebars adjust how those arcs, those curves, Bezier curves, yes, how they react. And right now my handlebars are attached to each other. I'm going to break them. I'm going to hold down Shift and C. And look at that. When it does, it changes my little arrow point, and I can move it around separately. However I want to. It's up to you how you do this. Go back to my direct select tool. Now I can grab this one, and I could make it a funny look. I don't know if that's what I want or not. We'll see. Sometimes I change my faces as I go. Sometimes I don't. I want this one to come down a little pointier. And I'm going to grab that Shift C again. I think I converted it. Oh, there we go. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get used to how they work. Sometimes they don't do what I want. Like, the hardest part, really, of Illustrator is learning how to use these handlebars well. It really is the key. So, you see when I clicked on this one this time, it gave me this little dot. That lets me adjust kind of the angle of that point. It lets me soften it when I drag it around. You can do that with other shapes too. You see, it doesn't show up here because this one's pretty flat. But this one had come to a point. So it let me do that. And when it did it, it made it 2 new anchor points. Older versions of Illustrator don't quite work the same way, and other vector software doesn't quite do that feature. But it's really handy. So there we go. We'll start with that shape. Now, actually I think I'm going to squish it more. Right there. Go there. I don't know what it is yet. I think I really want my ears to be a little flatter. We'll leave it. We'll see where it goes. So now let's look at eyes. I'm going to grab the ellipse tool again, and I'm going to make kind of an eye shape. And then I need to make, that's the outside of the eye, right? I need to make the inside, so I'm going to drag me a copy of that. And I am going to, let me go ahead and size it down. I'm going to transform it, and I'm going to scale it by, let's see, 85% here. Is that enough? Ooh, no, that's not enough. Transform, scale, and I'm doing this just so that I keep it exactly the same shape since I went kind of with a wonky shape. Let's see, 50%. That might be too small. A little too small. We're going to use Shift on the corner and kind of just drag it up. Holding Shift down while you drag the corner, in this case, will help keep the same aspect ratio. Okay, I'm digging that. It looks like we're getting an alien this time. Every time I do this, I start with no picture in my head in mind, so they kind of come up a little different. Now I've selected both of them. To do that, I click one, I hold down Shift, I click the other one, and then I'm going to click Control G for group. And I'm going to change them because right now they both have a white fill and a black stroke. I am going to turn off the fill so that they are just a stroke. Now I'm going to copy them. Well, actually, do we think they need a highlight? I think they might need a little tiny highlight. So let's give them a little tiny white highlight right there. And let's add this to our group. Control G. Now I'm going to copy this whole thing. If I hold down Alt, while I click on this, I can drag it over and look at that. It's giving me a nice little line to help me line it up. I think I'm making a grasshopper today. We'll see. Now let's make a nose. We're going to use the polygon tool to drag it out here. And you see I'm going to turn that fill off right now. I can do it up here or I can do it over here because it bothers me. And let me grab my select tool. Drag it in the center. Now when we look, styles, shape. There we go. When I click shape, sometimes it shows up if your screen is wide enough. Sometimes it doesn't. So click shape, and I can change the sizes. The number of sides down to 3, because I'm going to use a triangle. And then I'm going to rotate that button. Oh, not the face, just the triangle. About where I want it. I'll worry about the size and lining it all up in a second here. Let's see. Make it a little squished, a little fatter. Now I'm going to grab my direct select tool and look at those dots came up again. If I use those, they'll let me round it a little. And I can select just one if I want just one to be a sharper point. If I want for them to, come in some, I can play with it. I could use those arrows and my convert anchor point tool to grab the handlebars. If I wanted to make this curve in, I could. I'm not going to, but if you want to, you certainly can. Now, let's use the pen tool. And that's here where it says anchor point tool right there. I'm going to grab the pen tool. Because we're just going to make one curve. And when I click here on the second one, I'm going to click and drag. Let me show you that again. So I click once, and then I click to make my second anchor point, and I hold down when I do that. I click and drag out those anchor points. And then I'm going to hit escape to drop it. And then I'm going to take this and hold down Alt and drag to copy it. And now I'm going to flip it. So transform, reflect, vertical, okay. Now I just need to line it up. I don't know, he's not looking like a grasshopper now. We'll see what it comes out. Every time they come out a little different because I go in with no plan. I know you should always have a plan. We tell students that, right? I never have a plan. Nudge that over so it's lined up. There we go. This will be filled in at the end. You won't be able to see it. All right, so we need some ears. What shape ears shall we do? I'm going to go with rounded ears. Kind of a little poof ball here. Right in there? I think so. Now let me make the inside of them. I want to line them up centered, so I'm going to select both of these, and I'm going to use my horizontal align tool. That's a little off. We'll go this way. We are going to group those together, and we are going to copy them. And then transform, rotate. Let's see what 90 degrees does. Oh, not quite what we wanted. Let's undo that with Control Z. We need to go the other way. See if we go here. Oh, still not quite the same. We want to be right about there. We'll just turn it. Me and math. But you see how when I use the different things, it's kind of like the unit circle in trigonometry. It's not just 90, 90, 90. And that can be really tricky for students. So if they want to be precise, keep that in mind. All right, now I'm going to take, let's take this one, and then we're going to hold on to this one, and have Shift held down and grab this one. And we're going to use the Pathfinder tool and see what happens. Pathfinder, when you have multiple ones selected, is down here. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And that united those shapes. Now let's do the same thing again. This one. Actually, we don't need to for those, because we are going to fill in our face now with a color. Oh, look at that. I don't know what color yet. I haven't decided. You see it's at the front though. If we right click on him, we can go down to arrange, and we can send it to the back. And now we can take this one and do the same thing. Right click, arrange, send to back. Right click, arrange, send to back. I'm not sure I'm liking the ears that way. I think I would rather have them on the outside, so I'm going to go back a ways. Control Z. See, Control Z is your friend. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and join this one, and this one with Pathfinder. And then I'm just going to flatten this out. Right there. I like that better. They're not exactly the same. Oh well. He's a quirky little bear. Yes, he became a bear, it looks like. You never know. They always end up bears with you, don't they? The same thing with the eyes. I think the eyes need to be longer. So I'm just going to click that and drag that down. And we'll get rid of that one. So we can just copy that. On over. And his nose probably needs to be a little bit bigger. Oh, that's too big. So it's a simple little way. This is very quick and very simple. There's a lot you can do here. You could go in and make that really cute little kawaii nose with the little sliver if you wanted to, and change that. We can change colors now. If we click on one shape, we can make the stroke thicker. If we want to change the color of the stroke, we can. We can change the fill. Let's arrange and make sure he's all the way to the back. We could take this one, it has no fill, and give it some. And you don't have to use the colors. You can go into the color picker and choose whatever colors you want. I am just using what I have here in my swatches. These are really ugly colors I've chosen. Let's make him more brown. Too dark. Maybe right about there. I'm just not digging any of the swatches today. Normally I have some I like. Today, not so much. Okay, and we know the eyes for the background. Oh, they're all grouped together. So we're going to Control-Shift-G. Uh-oh, that opened up stuff on my computer. If you have a computer like mine, it may randomly open stuff up. So we can go to Ungroup here. So this is Ungroup, so we can change each one individually. It's still grouped. Object, Ungroup. There we go. And if we think he looks a little crazy eyes, you can go in and alter that. I'm thinking he's looking kind of crazy eyes. But, you know, it's your character. Make them look how you want. But this is really all there is to it. You are just starting with basic shapes. I find this a really great lesson for students to help them gain some confidence and make something simple. Yes, he's fairly simplified. There's not a really good pink. Let's go color picker and grab one. And we're going to bring this to the front. Arrange, bring to front so that it's over these two lines. But it's a fairly simple, quick lesson. In my classes, this is usually about a 45-minute lesson. I have them walk through it while I do it. It's kind of an introduction. We get to know the shape tool. We get to see how we can assemble things very easily. It's really great for students who struggle with the idea of drawing, or people in general who struggle with the idea of drawing. And it just makes a fun little character. Admittedly, when I do mine, I really don't know where I'm going to start with them. I just kind of roll with it. But sometimes people like to know. So if you have a sketch and you want to transfer it, absolutely just break it down into shapes and see how they fit. And then you can look at how this can translate into the skills needed to build icons for websites and things like that. So, or more complex characters, using the Pathfinder tool and the anchor points and all of those wonderful things we have in Illustrator. So that is a simple character, and I will see you next time.